Pound my gavel. I'd like to call the June 16th, 2026 board meeting to order and remind everyone to please mute your audio when you are not speaking, as well as state your name prior to making a comment or motion.
And Commissioner Fisher, that may have been a typo. It is actually the June 17th,
June
2026. Yep.
Worries. I'll ask each commissioner, please respond with a here when I call out their name. Commissioner Duggan.
Here.
Commissioner Lysick.
Here.
Commissioner Sanders.
Here.
And I am here. We have an amendment to our agenda. I would like to entertain a motion to amend the agenda to add ORS 192.662F to the list of topics to be discussed in executive session. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Chair, can I ask what that is?
I can describe that.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so that is... So ORS 192.6602F is to consider information or records that are exempt by law from public inspection.
Thank you. This is Todd Sanders. I move.
Is there a second?
This is Commissioner Lysick. I second.
I have a motion and a second. So all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. All opposed? The motion passes. The executive session agenda is amended. Next, we'll have reports by the CEO and management staff.
Well, good evening, commissioners. So I reacquaint myself with Microsoft Teams meeting protocol here. Fairly short meeting tonight with just a few important topics to cover, but I want to give you a few highlights of what's happening in the district in the coming month. First, I want to make you aware of the Talking Water event that we have. We are going to actually have a Talking Water event on the advanced irrigation controller techniques, and that will be on July 8th at noon. It'll highlight the opportunity to use those irrigation controllers to manage water use. These are more technical controllers that actually can connect to the internet and take into account the weather in setting the irrigation times. So essentially, you won't be sprinkling your yard when it's raining outside, things of that nature. I've had one for many years. In fact, it will prepare for a hot upcoming period by getting the soil moisture kind of up to speed during those periods of time. So it's a way of leveraging technology. We want to share that with our customers to make sure that they have the ability to use that. And actually, there is a rebate through our conservation program to assist with the purchase of those controllers. So this event will be offered through Microsoft Teams, which is how we do our Talking Water events. The connection link is accessible on the district's website, so there is no requirement to sign up in advance. You can go to the district's website and access the link for the meeting. Item that's more a participatory item in this tonight's management report, which is the Joint Water Commission. So on July 17th, the Joint Water Commission will be celebrating its 50th anniversary. And the staff of the JWC has asked me to inquire which of our commissioners would be attending in person. This will be really a great opportunity for us to join the other elected officials who lead the JWC from our partner agencies and to recognize the 50-year anniversary event. Commissioner Sanders, you may be asked to make some closing remarks since you are the JWC chair and the JWC staff has asked that that might be something you'd be interested in doing. So given that, can you let me know if any of you or all of you plan to attend the July 17th JWC meeting in person and participate in the 50-year anniversary event? And I'll forward that on to the JWC staff. Any takers?
Oh, you want to know now?
Yes, if we could, so I can let them know.
Well, I will gladly attend and listen to Commissioner Sanders make closing remarks.
I will be traveling out of the area. I'll actually be back on the East Coast, so unfortunately I won't be able to make it.
And I assume that this meeting's going to be at the time of the usual, or the party is going to replace the usual meeting on the
Yes,
17th.
yes, it will.
Awesome. Yeah, as of now, I don't have any conflict. So you can count me as a definite possibility.
And as chair, if you aren't able to be there, then we'll
I
let
will
you
let
know.
you know well in advance
Yeah,
if
thank you.
anything changes.
Commissioner Duggan, did you?
And I will not be able to be there for similar reasons as Commissioner Lysick. So I will be unavailable, have conflict. Thank you.
Is that your anniversary trip?
Yes, the one we've been planning for a very long time that we're unsure of right now because my wife has been having kidney stone issues. But right now, I'm scheduled to be elsewhere on the 17th of July.
Okay. Well, I will share that with the JWC staff, and I appreciate you providing that information here tonight. Moving right along, upcoming holiday. So our office will be closed actually on Friday, June 19th, in observance of Juneteenth holiday. However, TVWD is available 24 hours a day, 7 days per week to address water emergencies. And if a customer or anybody has a water emergency, please call our main district phone number, 503-848-3000, and one of our on-duty staff members will respond to the emergency. And to highlight actually travel requirements, I will be out of the office June 21st to the 25th, attending the EWWA Annual Conference and Exhibition, ACE 2026 as it's called, and attending several meetings with our Oregon delegation. And during that time, our Human Resource Director, Kylie Bear, will serve as AIC for the CEO, and Commissioner Fisher is also attending ACE 2026 and will attend those meetings with our delegation as well. So looking forward to spending some time with those folks for ACE 2026. And with that, our HR director actually will present tonight's director's report. Kelly, do you want to take it away?
Of course. And remind me, do I need to just click take control? I need to reacquaint myself with how we do this again.
Yes, just take control
Okay.
and you'll have it.
There we go. Thank you. All right. Well, thanks for having me here tonight. I'm happy to talk to the board about our director's report, and then you'll hear from me again on an agenda topic. So this evening, I want to talk about a program that our safety coordinator, Dan Herb, has piloted this year called our Stretch and Flex program. He initiated this to help support our employees' health and to prevent injuries. And it's an organization-wide program that touches on employees of all different types. You'll hear me talk mostly about office and field because that's how we've kind of delineated this program. The goal of our Stretch and Flex program is to improve our employees' safety, comfort, and overall well-being. We do have a lot of physically demanding roles here at the district. Our water operators, our field customer service reps, our facilities team, a lot of people doing a lot of physical work. I do want to let you know we've got some stats on our employees, and the average age of an office worker here is about 47 and a half. The average age of a field employee is between 44 and 45. Now, that's not very old at all, but I will tell you I'm moving a lot different today than I was 20 years ago. So we want to focus on preventing injury, especially as our employees age. Our oldest employee is 67. So we have people who are close to or even past retirement age that are still working here at the district. We want to make sure that our folks are doing well and taking care of themselves while they're working here. The program is divided into two different sections. So we have the sitting safe part, and that's for our office folks like me and the other coworkers of mine on the call. We tend to have desk jobs, so we're seated a lot more and a lot more stationary. Our program emphasizes things like posture, taking breaks when you need to, reducing fatigue from sitting too long, so standing up, moving around. If you're on your screen exactly, stand up and stretch. If you're on your screen for a long time, look away for a while, look back. All those things are good to do. Dan created some cards for all of us to have at our desks that help us remember to do this and to take care of that every morning when we come into work. We also have a program for our office, or for our field employees, for those more physically demanding roles, and that's going to focus on safe movement, lifting awareness, strengthening and stretching for those physical tasks that our employees are doing. And this program's been going really well. I will say our field staff are much more consistent compared to our office employees. So this is a good reminder for me to do my stretches. Some benefits and outcomes of the program is it just helps reduce that strain, helps reduce musculoskeletal injuries, can support energy and focus and comfort throughout the day. It reinforces our culture of safety and injury prevention, which is something we take very seriously here. And it's scalable and low cost. This was a very low cost program to start. We just had to spend some money getting those cards. It was very inexpensive, and this is easy to scale, and it only takes a few minutes each day. That takes me to some positive news I'd like to share with the board about our workers' compensation program. So our premiums for workers' compensation insurance will be decreasing come July from about $74,000 to $63,500. That's a significant reduction in cost for those premiums, and one of the main reasons for that is that our modification rate has improved from 0.69 to 0.63. That is significant. When those numbers get higher to 1.0, it means that we're not doing as good with our injury rates. When they get further away from it, it's a lot better. So we want to see our numbers that way. Our broker from Brown & Brown shared that this is one of the lowest modification ratings that he sees. So I think that's a signal that we take safety very seriously here at TVWD. It is one of our values, one of our 5 values, and it's something that we talk about often. So I'm super proud of the program. I'm really proud of Dan for piloting it, and proud of our employees for working safely here. And if there are any questions, I'm happy to entertain those. Okay. You'll hear from me again in a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Kylie. That completes the report of the Chief Executive Officer and management staff.
Thank you all. We'll now move to Commissioner Communications. The commissioners will now report on recent meetings attended, and we'll start with Commissioner Duggan.
All right. On May 27th, I attended Metro MPAC, where a representative from the governor came and presented on the Prosperity Project. And then there was also a presentation on a look back on Metro's 2040 plan. On the 1st of June, I had my check-in with CEO Paul Matthews. On the 2nd of June, I attended our work session where we received an update on the WWSS and other issues. On the 3rd of June, I attended the Regional Water Providers Consortium Board meeting where we had officer elections, and I was again selected to represent Washington County for the next 2 years as the county representative to the executive committee. On June 4th, I attended the Willamette Water Supply System Board meeting, which was our yearly in-person board meeting and executive session. On the 8th, I attended the Washington County Public Affairs Forum where John Horvick from DHM came and presented, and then tonight's meetings.
Okay, Commissioner Lysak.
Sam, apologies for not sending you my form. I filled it out and then just forgot to hit send. So I'll get that to you after the meeting today. I have a pretty light or short list. So the work session that Commissioner Duggan already mentioned, tonight's meetings, and then my touch base with CEO Matthews on the 11th of June.
Commissioner Sanders.
Righto, this will sound familiar. June 2nd work session. On the June 3rd, President Fisher and I met with Kylie and Sam, and had a meeting on the subcommittee for replacing Commissioner Doan or filling the vacancy on the board. Then on the 4th, I met with Commissioner Fisher and Paul Matthews to go over the board agenda meeting. And then on the 8th, I met with CEO Fisher for the one-on-one meeting. And then on June 9th, we had a WRWC board meeting where I guess the most important take home from that is the movement forward with the biological opinion, and then the reallocation of the waters of the Willamette is now 20 years in and still is not done. And the plan that had been put forth, which was the Bureau of Reclamation would give up the water rights behind the Army Corps' dams. And I don't think that's probably going to go over easily or fast. So I hope that people find a plan B for that. And then June 10th was our board work session. And then today's meeting on the 17th. And that's it for me.
Yeah, same with me. Yeah, a lot of overlap. Pull up the right list. On the 2nd, the work session, the 3rd, one of the subcommittee meetings for the vacancy. On the 4th, the agenda planning meeting. On the 10th, we met again as a subcommittee on the vacancy. On the 13th, I was able to finally watch a webinar from the AWA about their Water 2050 initiative and how technology is going to shape the future of water. Lots of discussions about what utilities are using AI for in their services. So that was pretty interesting. On the 15th, I met with our CEO and our lobby team in DC, talk about our upcoming meetings on the Hill. And then the 16th was our bi-monthly check-in with the CEO, and tonight's meeting on the 17th. And that was it for me. Do we have any topics to be raised by commissioners? Not seen any. Sam, do we have any members of the public in attendance tonight?
We do have a member of the public in attendance.
Okay.
Mr.
So
Cushing, do
I
you
will
wish
read-
to?
I will read my script first, and then we can move into public comment.
Okay.
Public comment time is set aside for persons wishing to address the board on items on the consent agenda and matters not on the agenda. Additional public comment will be invited on agenda items as they are presented. Do we have any persons who would like to comment? Not seeing anyone, so we will move along to the consent agenda. Consent agenda items are considered to be routine and may be enacted in one motion without separate discussion. Any board members may request that an item be removed by motion for discussion and separate action. Any items requested to be removed from the consent agenda for separate discussion will be considered immediately after the board has approved those items which do not require discussion. And we have 2 items on our consent agenda, minutes from our previous meeting and work session. Do I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented?
This is Todd Sanders. I move to accept the consent agenda as presented.
This is Commissioner Lysak. I second.
Have a motion and a second. So all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The motion passes. We'll now move into the business agenda. And we'll hear from Pete on the Metzger 405 pressure zone service area.
Yes, indeed. Good evening, President Fisher and commissioners. So yeah, I'm going to talk to you once again about this service area transfer that we've been talking with the city of Tigard about. And I will do a bit of an overview for any members of the public who might be joining us or watching us later online. So this is a small pressure zone in our Metzger service area. So the map on the left shows our blue district boundary, and we're looking in the southeast corner down by Metzger. And then in the map on the right, we zoom in a little bit and you can see this 405 pressure zone in red, and that's just south of 217. Zooming in a little further, this is the area. So now it's shown in green, and the shaded area is our TVWD boundaries, and what's unshaded in the aerial photo is all in the city of Tigard and served by their water system. So you may recall way back to 2002 when we entered into an urban services agreement with the city of Tigard. That includes not only TVWD, but other districts who provide services in and around the city. And what that did was define the boundaries where we will provide these services. And as part of that agreement, our boundary moved north. We used to serve a larger area south of 217, but we retained this neighborhood. And the north-south street you see there with the blue pipeline, that's 72nd Avenue, and then of course Highway 217 to the north. A couple things I'll point out on this, if you can see my cursor. So the lines in purple, assuming colors show up in your eyeballs the same as they do in mine, the color purple represents some Tigard pipelines. So you can see that not only do they serve the surrounding area, but we actually have interconnections with our pipes that are separated by closed valves currently. So the proposal here is that this area gets transferred to the city of Tigard, and our boundary would move up to Highway 217 in this area. We think the city's in a good position to provide service. They've got the surrounding water system, and we feed this with a single pipeline that crosses 217. So the city can provide just as high a level service as TVWD always has, and we serve at a very similar pressure. So these customers will see a change in source if this is approved, but their pressure is going to remain very much the same. So that's a little bit of the history here. So we'll talk about this draft agreement that we've negotiated with the city of Tigard. So we're looking at 73 customer connections. Most of those are residential. There is a business there, a commercial account that also has a fire line. Under this agreement, if you support it, the assets, so pipes, valves, hydrants, all the parts of the water system, the ownership of those would be transferred to the city. And the point of demarcation between the systems would move north of Highway 217, and we've identified a particular valve that would be closed as part of this transfer. We would share our mapping data and all the information we have on customers in this area. We'd give that to the city so that they can help update their accounts. The city currently has accounts. They provide services to these residents, just not water right now. So we would just add to the information that they have. And we would maintain an emergency intertie between our systems. So those are always beneficial in the region, and we don't want to lose that functionality. So it would just be a closed valve between the systems, similar to what we have right now. And also, we're not going to exchange money with the city. We're not asking them to buy these assets, and they're not asking us to provide them with any money in taking over this area. So in terms of what's happened so far, so Tigard has a water advisory board, and that is a body that functions to communicate between the Tigard Water District, which still exists, but has an agreement with the city to provide water service to their customers. So they advise the city council through this advisory board. They've been briefed on this proposal. They've indicated their support to the council, and this Tigard City Council will take up this topic next month. And so by July, if all parties agree, then this IGA would be approved. And once we have that step certain, we would then start with customer communications, let the customers know that this is what's happening. Here's what you can expect with this change. And then TVWD would do the final meter reads and issue our last bill to these folks in October of this year. And then the actual transfer would take place at the end of that reading cycle. When we issue those new bills, we would work with our partners over at Tigard to open valves to their system, close them off from TVWD, and then they would receive the Tigard water, which comes from the Lake Oswego Tigard water system. It's off of the Clackamas River and undergoes a treatment process. So this would also give us another preview into the water integration process that all of our customers will go through after the Willamette comes online. So we'll make a nice study area there that we can also learn from. So with that, I'll pause and see if there's any questions that I can answer. And hearing none, we do have a staff recommendation. I won't necessarily read it to you, but there it is on the screen. We do recommend that you adopt this resolution.
Okay, thank you, Pete. So we have a staff recommendation. Do I have a motion and a second on resolution 1426?
This is Commissioner Duggan. I move that we approve resolution 14-26 as proposed by staff.
This is Commissioner Lysick. I second.
Have a motion and a second to approve resolution 1426. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. All those opposed? The motion passes. Thank you, folks. We'll now go back to Kylie.
All right. So I'm here tonight to present about the interview process, or maybe I should call it the selection process for the board vacancy position number 5. Just to provide a little bit of background to the board, this vacancy was created by Jim Doan's resignation, which was effective at the end of February. And he leaves shoes that cannot be filled. So the next person who joins the board is going to have to, I guess, chart their own way. We used resolution number 926 to establish a board vacancy subcommittee, and Commissioners Fisher and Sanders were appointed to that. And they were tasked with creating a process to review our candidates and then make a recommendation to the full board. The recruitment itself resulted in 12 applications from individuals interested in being a part of the TVWD board. And our vacancy subcommittee evaluated those 12 candidates based on their qualifications, their experience, and then their alignment with the responsibilities of a TVWD commissioner. Through that process, the subcommittee identified 6 finalists that they present to the board tonight. And you'll see information about that in your packet. It's at the very, very end. This is the last topic on that one. So there's a few different decision points this evening that the board can make. And I want to preface this with we're presenting information about what had happened in 2022 with the assumption that the board would likely follow that again this time. But the board can do what it likes. So these are suggestions. If you'd like to go a different direction, you are welcome to do so. So assuming that the board would like to move these candidates forward or some candidates forward to interview, we've provided some motion language here. Motion 1A would have these 6 candidates who are identified by our subcommittee, would have them move forward to interviews, and staff will notify them of those next steps. The 6 candidates that were recommended by the subcommittee are Daniel Cushing, Matt Highfield, David Keith Jones, Brian Kennedy, Anthony Mills, and Corey Mullen. Alternatively, if you'd like to interview different candidates than those 6, motion 1B would help you do that. the following slides will reference kind of how to schedule those interviews and which questions to ask. So at this point, I would like to ask the board if you're interested in making a motion to interview the 6 candidates the subcommittee recommended. Maybe not quite yet.
Well, no, I was going to say before I propose the motion, I just wanted to express my gratitude to Commissioner Sanders and Commissioner Fisher for going through the process. I know that this is not easy, and coordinating across work schedules and everyone's lives is challenging at times. So I'm very appreciative. I reviewed the exhibit already and saw the scoring. We could, like I'm always, anytime you put numbers to something, I'm going to want to ask a million questions, but I'm going to refrain from that. I have nothing but confidence in the list that you've put together. So I'd like to move that we move forward with the 6 candidates that were in Exhibit A.
This is Commissioner Duggan. I echo that idea and would like to second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to go forward with our 6 recommended candidates. So all those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, so the motion carries.
Wonderful. This makes the rest of my presentation go much easier. So another decision point is the interview format. So the board needs to determine when and where to interview these candidates, and then we also need to determine how. And I've got the interview questions for your consideration on the next slide. So the when and where is what we've got in front of you right now. And there's a couple different options. I do want to make note, we're all virtual right now, and we're expected to stay in this format through the summer as the boardroom is being remodeled right now. We're working on the HVAC. So you don't want to be in there right now. Our meetings for these would need to be virtual. Motion 2A would allow for special meetings that go outside of the typical schedule of work sessions and regular meetings. Motion 2B would use our normal schedule that we have with work sessions and regular meetings. I'd like you to be aware that there is time on the agenda for the July 7th work session. I believe also the July 15th regular meeting. And I do believe that the board could accomplish 6 interviews over 2 meetings like that. Again, it's totally up to the board, so we could accommodate at our upcoming work session and regular meeting next month, or schedule things outside of that typical schedule. With that, I think I will ask the board to determine how they'd like to move forward.
Well, I'll just state my preference. I lean towards using motion 2B simply because they're already on the calendar, and as far as I know, we're all scheduled to be at those meetings. I've heard just earlier in this meeting that some people might be traveling this summer, and I sort of fear that if we try to call 2 special meetings, it might bog us down a little bit in trying to find best dates, but because we're not just, trying to coordinate amongst ourselves, but with the 6 candidates. So that's sort of where my feeling is right now.
This is Commissioner Duggan. I am uncertain if I'm going to be able to make it to the August work session there on that first week of August. But right now, I think it's about 50-50 whether I'll be able to attend that. And I just want to throw it out there that I'm leaning more toward a special meeting, depending upon the schedule. But if it could be fit in to the regular meeting in July, that would be fine. But I'm just concerned about that first workshop meeting in August.
And if you're not
Excuse me,
quite ready to make a decision on how to do these, we can move forward and talk through some of the interview questions and then come back, or we can stay on the topic.
To be more clear, it's the workshop on August 4th that I may have a problem committing to right now.
Thank you, Commissioner Duggan. That's my anniversary. I won't be here.
So maybe what I'm hearing is maybe motion 2A is the best way to go. And if that one meeting is not one of the dates selected, so much the better. But couldn't we technically pick one of our regular meeting dates as a special meeting date as well? So we could
Yes.
do both at the same time.
Mhm.
So if you could make the other normal meeting, but can't make that first one, we'd still be okay.
So am I hearing that right? That you're thinking about doing the July work session and then a special meeting in advance of the July board meeting on the 15th?
If we're getting, if I'm hearing the conflicts correctly,
Yes, so if it can be accomplished in July, I think I don't have a conflict with that. It's the one conflict that I'm seeing right now is that August 4th work session. But if things can be scheduled, maybe it's a combination of both, is just figure out which works for the candidates and the board. And if it can be accommodated at a regular or work session, regular scheduled work session or regular meeting, I'd be fine with it. I don't know if we need to do either or. It could be both and motion 2A and 2B. Just as long as it fits in with schedule. And I hope staff can be flexible or figure out how to make it work with with conflicting schedules.
I think we can. I do want to let you all know that there is sufficient time on the agenda in the July work session and the regular meeting. So I do think that you'd be able to interview all 6 candidates, assuming all 6 are able to make that schedule.
Let's give it a go then.
so we're gonna be going with motion 2B then.
That is correct. I second that motion.
We do need a motion that specifies
The date.
the actual dates. Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay.
It's July 7th work session and July 15th regular meeting.
Okay. Do I have a motion for the 7th and
And the 15th.
15th?
Yes, Todd Sanders, I make that motion.
And is there a second?
This is Commissioner Lysak, I second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. All opposed? The motion passes, so we will conduct our interviews on the 7th and the 15th.
Fantastic. On the 15th, if the board is ready to make a decision at that time, you're more than welcome to do that. You could also wait and deliberate and then come back in August. So just want to let you know you have options and you should not feel rushed. All right. Now for our interview approach. So I would recommend, as as the HR director using a structured and consistent format. And this is what we do for when we do a recruitment for a job here. We try to have a very consistent format when we evaluate each candidate, and we do that to try to reduce bias and just make sure we're evaluating on a consistent approach. It supports transparency and fairness, and this would be consistent with the 2022 recruitment that resulted in Commissioner Lysick joining our board. You'll see in your packet at the very end in Exhibit C, we have our interview questions that were used when Commissioner Lysick went through this process. The subcommittee, when they met, did take a look at these questions and felt that question number 5 was a little clunky in how it was worded. And when we were speaking about that, we had suggested, Sam and I suggested to update that question to read, how do you plan to distinguish your personal views from the district's, and just make that a little bit more straightforward. The subcommittee, just to make it clear, was charged with simply making the recommendation of candidates. So they weren't charged with approving interview questions or anything like that. So that would be for the full board to do. Should the board wish to use the interview questions in Exhibit C, the first sample motion language would get you there, and there would be no edits on any of the questions. They would be used as is. Alternatively, if you'd like to make any changes to those, the one that I mentioned for question 5 included, then you would go with the second motion listed there and just describe those modifications as best you can. I'm happy to answer any questions about interviews or how that process might work.
Are there any questions for Kylie about the interview questions? Okay, seeing no questions, is anyone who would like to bring a motion forward on?
This is Commissioner Duggan. I move that we approve the interview questions as presented in Exhibit C with the modification as suggested by the subcommittee, and the wording by staff is acceptable to me. So I move that we accepted staff's suggested rewrite as proposed.
This is
Do I have a
Commissioner
second?
Lysick. I second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the interview questions as amended, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Right?
Aye. All opposed? Okay, we have our interview question set.
Fantastic. I have one final question. It's not on the slide, but I'm curious if the board would like us to provide anything to your candidates before their interviews. SDAO does have a pretty nice packet, kind of general information describing what a special district is and what it means to be an elected official. And we can certainly provide some of that. We could also provide the interview questions in advance. Any of your candidates who've been tuning in to questions or to these meetings will have seen them, but we can provide them in advance as well via email. So if you'd like to think about it a little bit, you could just let me know, or you could let me know right now.
Okay, this is Todd. I have no problem with each of the candidates receiving the questions a week ahead of time before their scheduled date, or 2 days. I have no problem with them getting them before, but not until they've scheduled a date.
Great, we can do that.
Yeah, that sounds like a good plan, Commissioner Sanders. Make sure that they've scheduled the date before they get the interview questions.
Fantastic. We can do that. Okay. Well, if there's no further questions.
Well, this Commissioner
Commissioner
Duggan, I
Duggan?
just wanted to add that I think it would be great if you included the SDAO information as well. I think that's a good idea as well. So I'm supportive of everything that's been discussed.
Great. All right. Well, if there are no further questions, I think I've got my marching orders, and Sam and I will work together to schedule those interviews for your top 6 candidates. and look forward to hearing from them in July on the 7th at the work session and on the 15th at the regular meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Kylie. I will now close the regular session of the board, and the board will convene an executive session. Will the district recorder please read the executive session script?
Thank you, President Fisher. An executive session of the board is called under ORS 192.6602H to consult with counsel concerning the legal rights and duties of a public body with regard to current litigation or litigation likely to be filed, and ORS 192.6602F to consider information or records that are exempt by law from public inspection. So we will close out our regular meeting here, and staff as well as the board has a separate invite for the executive session, and we will meet within that virtual meeting invite.
See you in a little bit.
Thank you.